We will, I will call you when we get to that.
Okay, so I'm the director of the Business Solutions Center, but I know the information pretty well, so.
Okay.
So I'll probably be the one that's here. Sometimes Jessica, but she's with always at two different meetings, so.
Look at the last one.
Good morning to everyone who is joining us. I'm doing an audio test here in the boardroom. Looks like people can hear me. If I'm also audio testing on our Zoom platform, if Jim Marchese would be so kind as to unmute and just let me know if you can hear me.
Hi, good morning. Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jim.
You're welcome.
So it is 10:02 a.m. If anyone wishes to offer public commentary or comment on any of our agenda items this morning, if you are in the hearing room, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room on the table. Indicate which items you'd like to speak on and hand it to me. If there's anyone on the Zoom platform who wishes to offer public commentary or comment on any of our items, please press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. And I will record your name for the record. And seeing no one on our Zoom platform, I will make an additional call out for any public commenters in approximately 3 minutes. We should be starting in approximately 3 minutes. Thank you.
And that's the Business Solutions Center, which is a construction mitigation program. So we can talk more about that a little bit later. But it is one of them. It's the best of the SCDH, but that's a construction mitigation program. Now on the BRT, it's just yes. Okay. Yeah. So, but I wanted to meet you. Oh, Miss Eli.
Mic check. Mic check. Yeah.
Annalisa? Hi, so I'm Jim Cohen. I'm sitting in for Sammy, so I'll be calling up. Yeah, I'll be calling you guys up. Yeah, I can see. Okay.
Once again, this is TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer with the Board of Public Works. I'd like to welcome everyone who's here in the room with us. If anyone here in the room would like to offer a public commentary or comment on any of our agenda items this morning, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room. Indicate which items you'd like to speak on and hand it to me. If there's anyone on our Zoom platform who wishes to offer public commentary, please press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute at this time. And seeing no one on our virtual platform and no one in the room, we should get started in the next 2 minutes. Thank you. All right, President Garcia, I'm going to go ahead. We've conducted an audio test and we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and put us in record mode.
Thank you.
All right, we are in record mode.
Great. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, September 6, 2023. TJ Knight?
Yes, thank you, President Garcia. Good morning, Madam President. I'm TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer, taking role in establishing quorum. President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, Commissioner Corson, and Commissioner Reyes are present. We do have a quorum. President Pro Tem Davis is out on city business. We are also joined by City Attorney Representative Virginia Choi. Once again, I'm Assistant Executive Officer TJ Knight. President Garcia, we do have one speaker card under public comment, no neighborhood council commentary, and one speaker card under items 1 and 2 this morning.
Very well. Thank you for that, TJ Knight. Since we do have public comment, we'll take public comment now. And I have a person that starts with the letter F.
Very good. If you would like to offer your public comment, you'll have 2 minutes.
Yeah, lately, it's very apparent that the conditions. Where are you going, Mommy Teresa? Come back, Mommy. Mommy! Yeah, the conditions around the city are just horrible. Just so much goddamn fucking trash. And I don't know what the city attorney's doing about it, or what the fuck the DA's doing about it, or what the fuck the police are doing about it, but it's disgusting. To come to a work environment where the conditions are disgusting. And if you can't get your act together, then as commissioners, you should immediately, effectively, a facto, resign. We don't need lazy motherfuckers in our city doing shit for 200 to 300,000 G's a year. And we know that DWP, former attorney, Mr. Peter Thomas, cocksucker, ripped us off. And it's about time that, yes, the federal government is aware at 310-477-6565 for the record, that you criminals, a criminal enterprise like Los Angeles, continues to be a cash cow of corruption. And that's the reason why Mr. Davis is not here, because he tried to execute Wayne Spindler, for the record, on the basis of what? He simply put in a card about the DWP ripping us taxpayers off while you dumb motherfuckers sit here and allow it to happen because none of you wish to be a whistleblower. So, Mommy Teresa, get on the game and stop playing the game. 42 U.S.C. 1983, fuck you.
2 minutes. Thank you.
TJ Knight, is that the last of our public comments?
That concludes our public commentary this morning.
Okay, public comments now officially closed. I don't think you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Okay, sorry, public comments now officially closed. Moving on to the first item in today's business, which is the approval of the minutes of Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item?
Second.
Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to approve the minutes of Wednesday, August 23rd.
Very good, and we'll take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved.
Great, thank you very much. Colleagues, we do have two administrative items that I'm going to take up first. These do not have any speakers. Oh, well, I'm sorry, one does, but I'm going to take the one that does not first. This is item number 5, administrative items, specification submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for invitation of bids. Council districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Traffic signal backlog reduction project phase 1 Envision Zero traffic signal improvements rebid work order E1908997 estimate amount of $12,581,493. Bid receipt date of Wednesday, October 11, 2023. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item? Thank you, Commissioner
second,
Reyes.
sorry.
It's okay. TJ Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Commissioner Reyes to
approve item number 5.
Thank you, President Villegas. I did just receive a public comment card for item number 5, if you'd like to take that at this time.
I think we're on our voting logistics already. Usually I don't take public comment at this point.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We will take a roll call vote on item number 5, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
President Garcia,
Yeah.
has public comment on this item been taken at all?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Has public comment been taken at all on this item?
On this item, no. Do I need to take it now? I usually don't do that. We do it before we make any voting, and we're already in the voting section.
If the vote hasn't been made yet, it might be just worth taking the
fine.
comment.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll take public comment.
Thank you.
To appease our city attorney. TJ Knight.
So you have 2 minutes for your commentary on item number 5.
For the record, the card reads FATTY, F-A-T-T-Y. And why am I talking about traffic signal backlogs? Because, again, another vehicle, engine number 59 or 69, just got slammed, T-boned, riding down the road while some 2 couples decided to trash our fire truck in Compton. And the reason? Traffic signals. Traffic signals that are inadequate, out of date, not up to par, not up to its design, and we need engineers from Dubai to come in here and fix this fucking problem because you guys don't know shit about traffic signals. And by the way, item 9, current price for the record, must be recused to vote on this shit because that motherfucker is under a DA investigation about his 2 fucking wives.
Please stay on
All the
topic.
thieving and stealing here at
Please
City
stay
Hall
on
like
topic.
Art Ridley Thomas for the record, dumb nigger. So, again, the specifications for the adoption and the invitation of bids is like I said. All the good engineers are from India. My brother man, I in India look for job. Recruit me, give me free visa. I build you beautiful signals to build America, save America. So you see, once again, the criminal element of just simplifying $12,481 and $493 change is not an estimate. I'm talking millions. Rounded off, $12 million on the bid receipt for this October 11th, 2023, effective communications. Fuck you.
Is that the last of public comments for item number 5, TJ Knight?
Yes, it is, Madam President.
Public comment for item number 5 is now officially closed. I think we had already put in a motion and we were ready to just vote.
Correct.
Okay.
And so we'll take a roll call vote. Just to reiterate, who is the, I'm sorry, can I ask who the mover and seconder was?
Sure, it was me and Commissioner Reyes.
Thank you. And so we'll take a roll call vote on item number 5, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved and will move forward forthwith.
Great, thank you very much. And I think we just agreed that item number 6, Ms. Martinez, stop notice. This is a stop notice, item number 6 for Manufactured Technologies LLC. Manufactured Technologies LLC is transmitting a stop notice in the amount of $15,144.81 for Materials for Performance Pipeline Technologies, Inc., doing business as Sanitation Systems and a parent contractor in connection with the secondary sewer renewal D-Con 03 project for which the primary contractor is Gerbicon. I think I said that right. All right, TJ Knight, I think we have a speaker card for this item
We do, and we can take the speaker card on item number 6
with the letter M.
with the letter M. You'll have 2 minutes.
So we're looking for a sewer renewal. Well, to no performance other than my grievance and complaint against the city of Los Angeles within the 5th district regarding Katie Yargroslavsky nicknamed Zev. Well, why is it that these small businesses keep getting flooded in their area due to sewer renewal bullshit? You see what I'm talking about? Now, this was a small little chump change item of $15,000, but the point I'm trying to make out about the 5th District is why, for these years, every small business in that area of the 5th District complained about sewage backing up, sewage water flooding into their businesses every fucking year. This wasn't because of Hillary bitch Clinton storm. I'm talking about the storms that have happened throughout the years where water has agitated complaints against the city, and the same fucking pipelines are backed up, and backed up. I mean, I have to emphasize this because I'm an American citizen, and never in my life have I understood why we have these engineer problems when we should not have them, right? We pay taxes, we own homes, we own property, and yet we're going to allow this type of bullshit to happen? I don't think so, not under our guard, because I am the advocate speaker for the morning and for the day, and shall always be until the day one of you motherfuckers threatens to kill me, harm me in any motherfucking way.
TJ Knight, is that the last of our public comments for item number 6?
Yes, it is.
Okay. If public comments for item number 6 is now officially closed. Do we have a presenter after all, or is this just an administrative item?
We do not. It's an administrative item.
It is an administrative item.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Is there a second to my motion to approve item number 6?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by me and a second by VP Villegas to approve item number 6.
Very good, and we'll take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and item number 6 is received forthwith.
Okay, great. We took off all the admin items. Moving on to the first item on today's agenda, which is a request from the Bureau of Sanitation and the Bureau of Contract Administration in all council districts. And we have a speaker card with the letter F.
And you have 2 minutes.
What number was this again? 1. Requeste por proposales de la sewage condiciones assessment usando el closado circuit de televisión. Entonces, por ejemplo, nadie no quiere negotiate los contratos con los most responsive proposals porque son cabrones. Y número 4, el público de works de los auditorios dicen que hay una award para el contractes porque la puta mayor y la city putos aprobó prior contracts. ¿Por qué? Well, again, this is about CDO. And who's on CDO? Current Price. And Current Price needs to be recused from all items on an agenda in CD9 because we don't have representation of a nigga.
Let's
And
stay on
I-
topic. Stay on topic, please.
And I, a colored man, speak very fluently in English, speak very fluent in mi Espanol because I'm a wetback and I can. But as a brother border, like I said, cheesy, wheezy, pricey. We're talking about
That's not part of the
the
topic.
transmitted RRP, the sewer conditions of a closed circuit television. As you heard, fucking Spectrum had a closed problem with Disneyland and the little raton, Mickey Mouse. Poor services. And then to evaluate the proposals based on the established rating criteria, I think we need to shelve this item so that publics can engage to find out why we have a sewer condition of assessment of closed circuit.
2 minutes.
TJ Knight, is that the list of our public comments for item number 1?
Yes, it is.
Public comment for item number 1 is now officially closed. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration, a request for proposals, RFP, sewer condition assessment using closed-circuit television inspection. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or designee to, 1, distribute and advertise the transmitted RFP, I think that should be an F right there, TJ Knight, for sewer condition assessment by closed-circuit television. 2, evaluate the proposals and based on the established rating criteria, select and interview the most qualified proposer or proposers. 3, negotiate a contract or contracts with the most responsible proposer or proposer, and return to the Board of Public Works for authority to award the execute of any contract subject to mayor and city council approval prior to contract execution. And this morning, we have Ms. Lee here. Come on down, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, board members and Bureau representatives. My name is Jennifer Lee. I'm representing LA Sanitation and Environment's Clean Water Conveyance Divisions. I'm here to request an authority to advertise a request for proposals and to negotiate contracts for sewer condition assessment by closed-circuit television. Better? Okay. Okay. So the new contracts are being requested for a duration of 5 years with an established a requested cost ceiling of $22 million. The City of Los Angeles has over 6,700 miles of sewer lines that serve over 4 million residential and commercial customers, with CCTV being the primary tool for condition assessment. CCTV is used to plan and identify future projects and is vital to the reduction and prevention of sanitary sewer overflows. Additionally, we aim to reach the goal of 600 miles televised sewer. Our current contracts have a total cost ceiling of $20 million with a duration of 5 years. This RFP is necessary to continue sewer condition assessment services when our existing contracts are set to expire in October and November of 2026. Previously, we had received 4 proposers during that RFP process. We are expecting to receive about the same amount this time around. Due to the limited scope of work required and the as-needed nature of a CCTV contract, the opportunities for subcontracting can be minimal and is typically subject to traffic control or debris bin rental. The as-needed nature is pertaining to assigned specialized large line cleaning, which is not scheduled regularly, but assigned on a due to necessity. However, we have established anticipated participation levels of 5% for MBE and 2% each for WBE, SBE, EBE, and DVBE. Authorizing to advertise a request for proposals for CCTV contracts will allow us to seamlessly continue our services prior to our current contracts expiring and to continue to prevent sewage spills. I kindly request your authorization. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Appreciate it. Any questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. Just a clarifying question. You said that we got 4 proposals back, and you are opening this back up?
Our last RFP process, we got,
got
4
it,
proposals.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then do you anticipate more proposers this time?
We would anticipate at least 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're letting us know that just for context?
Yes.
For background information. Okay, and this contract is going to be for all 6,700 miles of sewers that we have?
It's anticipated for at least 600 miles per year.
Okay, so we won't catch everything?
Yeah, we may not.
Okay, all right, and for 5 years with a 2-year extension, and you mentioned in the board report that it's like a month to month.
Yes.
And is that after the 2 years, or is that only for the 2 years?
Only for the 2 years.
Okay, All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, VP Villegas. Those were all clarifying questions. Any other questions, colleagues? Seeing none. I'm actually excited that we're here, finally. This is something that's very much needed. Given that we're not going to capture all the, what was it, 6,000 miles of sewer?
Yes, 6,700.
How much?
6,700.
6,700. Do we have a plan of action to eventually get to cover all of them?
Yes, we do have a list of our inventory of where we plan to assess next. Yes.
Okay.
So eventually we will. Try to
Okay,
get-
well, I imagine you're doing some now, and then you're gonna do the ones that you're not doing that now in the next RFP.
Yes.
And that way we'll be able to cover all of them at
Yes.
some point. Okay, got it. Okay. Colleagues, any other questions, comments, any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. TJ Knight, there's a first by Commissioner Corson and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 1 forward and forthwith.
Very good, and we will take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
Commissioner Corson, and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved and will be moved forward forthwith.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the morning. Moving on to item number 2, this is a request from the Bureau of Sanitation and the Bureau of Contract Administration in all council districts. And we do have a public comment card for that, and it starts with the letter F.
Very good, and you'll have 2 minutes to provide your commentary on item number 2.
Yeah. CD all. Well, in regards to the citywide support for really brownfield program, you know, in my brownfield program out there in Boyle Heights and CD 14, my elected official has been denied a participation in commissions and committees. Why? Because for some reason, nobody wants Kevin DeLeon in CD all.
Can we stay on the
Item
topic?
2,
This is item number 2, request for qualifications.
I'm on topic, mommy. Chill out. Don't get a fatty burn on me. I'm talking about the environmental site assessment. And if you drive over that fucked up Hunt Bridge into Boyle Heights, you'll see exactly what I mean. It's just a rundown fucking city because morons that work for us don't fucking care because they don't live in the city. And whoever authorizes the Bureau of Sanitation, BOS, bunch of bullshit. Because if you go off of Evergreen and Cincinnati, there's a large container there filled to the top with trash. Matter of fact, I got photos of it, but I think Fatty Mommy, the president, don't want to be embarrassed for having me to show them to you guys for the record. But maybe you should go back into council and demand that Kevin DeLeon get his committee and commission on, because we need to see improvements now, not later. Vote for Kevin DeLeon and fuck that stupid, dumb motherfucker in CD9. So long, nigga.
TJ Knight, is public comment now officially closed, given that we do not have any more additional speakers?
Yes, it is.
Great. Thank you for that. This is a request for qualifications, environmental site assessment support, and technical support services citywide brownfield program. Recommending the board to 1, authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation to 1, distribute and advertise the transmitted RFQ for on-call consultant services to provide environmental site assessment support and technical support services for the Bureau of Sanitation citywide brownfield program. 2, evaluate the proposer's statement of qualifications and select the proposer or proposers who submitted the most qualified SOQ for the needed services based upon the requirements set forth in the RFQ. 3, negotiate contract or contracts with the most qualified proposer or proposers after the evaluation of the SOQs. And 4, return to the Board of Public Works for authority to execute the negotiated contract or contracts. And this morning we have Ms. Colette. And we have somebody else with you, Mr. Jordan? Or it's just you?
It's just going to be me, right?
All right. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam President, Vice President, Commissioner, Board Representatives, and Executive Officers. My name is Colette Monell with Sanitation, Solid Resources, Citywide Recycling, the Citywide Brownfields Program. As mentioned, we are requesting to distribute and advertise our request for qualifications, evaluate the proposers, negotiate the contracts, and then we'll return to the board with the, for authority to execute the contracts. A little bit of background, the Brownfields program has several federal EPA cleanup and assessment grants, and also several grants from DTSC that this new on contract could be used for, and then also for future grants. So there is specialized needs that we need to conduct the environmental assessments and support for the grants and then future projects. The scope of work will include Phase 1, Phase 2 environmental site assessments, including soil vapor sampling, groundwater sampling, technical work plans, developing area-wide brownfields inventory, implementing grant administration, and then meeting with regulatory oversight agencies, community engagement, cleanup and cleanup planning. The proposed term of the on-call contract would be for a 5-year period with a possible 5-year extension. The proposers would be evaluated on the consultant's staff and consulting companies' qualifications, experience, and expertise, technical approach, project management approach, and then compensation. So there's no, this is an on-call contract, so there's no funding established for that on-call. It'd be on an on-need basis or emergency basis, and then the assignment of work will be determined on the task order solicitation process, which would be done after the on-call contract has been established. We will follow the business inclusion program. We anticipate 13% MBE, 4% WBE, 25% for SBE, 8% for EBE, and then 3% for DBBE. And then, as I mentioned, there's no funding requirements at this time. The specific funding information would be provided at the time of the task order solicitations once the on-call contract has been established. And that concludes my presentation. I'll take any questions.
Thank you for that, Colette. I know you've been working on this. Is this, I have a couple questions, but just to start me off right now, is this part of a grant that you have?
So this can be used for current grants and then future grants.
Okay.
So we already have work in progress, so this would just be continuing our current grant projects and then future grants.
Okay, understood. And my second question, and I think you said it within all the scope of work that this would do, it also includes the cleanup efforts, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And just my last, how many brownfields land do we have in the city?
Well, there's a lot. So
Okay.
recorded, there's, and this is not just city-owned properties, it's all private. So I think we have an estimated of 3,000, but that doesn't mean they're all under assessment. They could have been completed. It's just different phases, but that's recorded on state databases.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Any questions, colleagues? Commissioner Reyes?
Just piggybacking on President Garcia's, I know the EPA has the cleanup grant, right, for brownfields. Are we planning to also seek additional funding through the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, that has this sort of like Justice 40? Since these are in brownfield areas, in disadvantaged communities, are we going to take advantage about that? I always remind our bureaus to take advantage of what the feds are also offering.
Yeah, we actually, this last year, we looked into one of the grant programs that's coming out from that EJ40, and hopefully we'll be returning to come back to the board about that grant opportunity, because it did, with that new funding that's coming out from the federal government, it did offer through one of the EJ grants to include cleanup, like cleanup assessment or cleanup work in that. So that's like the first time that they're offering that. So we are looking at that opportunity.
That's wonderful to know, so take advantage of it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Reyes. Any other questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas?
Yeah, just a quick question. So we will put this out to be able to solicit different firms, is that correct?
Yeah, so it will be posted on the RAMP website for all public information, so all the consultants can look at that and propose.
Okay. And then do you have a time frame when it's due?
We haven't established the specific dates because we'll have a pre-bid meeting, and then from there, the contractors can ask us questions. We usually would have, after that time when we answer questions and follow-up questions, it'd be like a 30 or 45-day period for them to submit their proposals, and then we would evaluate their
Okay.
proposals.
I just see that it's a TBD on the attachments.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we
I
haven't.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Very good, and we'll take a roll call vote on item number 2, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 2 is approved and will be moved forward forthwith.
Great, thank you very much. Look forward to getting this done as well, and I look forward to seeing who the finalists are. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day. All right, moving on to item number 3. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Sanitation in Council District 15. Before I move on to the item, I just want to confirm that we do have a public speaker. And just to make things clear, we want to just recap and make sure that everybody understands that we have a 10-minute cap and it applies to everybody. So if we are close to that, TJ Knight, you will let us know, right?
Correct, I will.
For that, I will call for item number 3, public comment with person with the letter starts F.
And you'll have 2 minutes to make your public comment.
I see there's an issue here regarding advertise package suppliers for capital improvement projects regarding the Nigger Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant flaring system replacement project. You know, I had a friend that went to prison in Terminal Island before they booted his ass up there to Colorado to freeze. But we see that the engineering and the board to evaluate pre-qualified response. Stop fucking moving down there. I can't think if you're shaking my ass, which you're shaking and scratching. Based upon the requirements set forth for the RFQ, rehabilitation for fuckers on quarters. Yeah, the city engineer and the board of supervisors will report back to us, the public, on the proposed selected supplier of those narcotics. Of those things that come with the sole sourced and permitted participate project. So you see, kiddies, Terminal Island Water Reclamation, we're trying to make clean water before God destroys the earth, because the inhabitants of the earth are fucking wicked and evil. And in letting all that Hillary water run off, you could have put it in wells to water the fucking golf course and the fucking parks. But instead, you dumb dickheads, cocksuckers, bitches, don't learn. Now we're going into a crisis where there'll be no water, and it's the only source of income.
2 minutes.
TJ Knight, is public comment now officially closed, given that we do not have any other speaker cards?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you very much. Public comment for item number 3 is now officially closed. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering, the Bureau of Sanitation in Council District 15 for requests for qualifications and RFQ, flare system package suppliers, Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant Flaring System Replacement Project, Capital Improvement Project 5260. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the Director of Bureau of Sanitation to request the city engineer to issue and advertise the transmitted RFQ to establish a pre-qualified list of flare system package suppliers for the Capital Improvement Project CIP 5260. Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant Flaring System Replacement Project. 2, authorize the staff of the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Sanitation to evaluate and pre-qualify the respondents based upon the requirements and procedures set forth in the RFQ. And 3, direct the city engineer and the Bureau of Sanitation to report back to the board with the proposed selected supplier to be sole source and permitted to participate in this project. This morning, we have Mr. Shah here. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Nadir Shah, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. I am here to present the board report for request for qualification to issue and advertise the transmitted RFQ for the package flaring system for the Capital Improvement Project CIP 5260 Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant Flaring System Replacement Project. Just to give you background of this, the Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant currently operates a digester gas flaring system. The purpose is to safely combust excess digester gas. This is a crucial part of plant operations so that we can environmentally friendly solution could be provided to manage the byproduct of the anaerobic digestion process. There are 3 reasons to undertake this project. One is that the existing system was installed in 1992 and has reached its life cycle. The second is the plant intend to introduce the food waste to the digesters, which will increase the byproduct digester gas, and an upgraded capacity for the flare system will be needed. The third reason is that the current requirements under the South Coast Air Quality Management District to meet the ultra low environmental permit requirements, we will need to have the new upgraded flares. Now, these flare systems, they're fairly complex, and to ensure that we can get the best systems and the supplier, we have initiated a request for qualification process. Our aim is to pre-qualify suppliers who can design, manufacture, and package the flare system for the project, though the flare system and the other improvements would be undertaken by the general contractor. Our next step upon your approval will be to advertise the RFQ in a technical publication and make it available at the city's RAMP website. We will then evaluate the statement of qualifications received and conduct an oral interview for the highest rated respondents. Finally, we will select and sole source the supplier best suited for the project. This approach ensures that the supplier we select is the best fit for our unique needs. The project has already received approval for a construction budget of $5.647 million from the Program Review Committee on May 10, 2023. So the recommendation is to issue and advertise this RFQ and authorize BOE and BOS to pre-qualify the respondent based on the requirements and procedures as set forth in RFQ, and we will report the selected sole source upon completion of the process. This concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Great. Thank you so much for your report, Mr. Shaw. Quick, just to recap for me, then, we're going to do an RFQ, and then from the RFQ, you're going to basically select a proposer to be the sole source of this?
Yeah, so we will sole source the supplier who will design, manufacture, and package the
Okay,
whole flare system. So it is critical because we want that someone who manufactures this very specialized equipment also designs it and provide us support during installation. But the project, yeah, we will sole source it. That's the purpose of it. And once we select it, we will report back to the board.
okay, understood. And this is just a small piece of a very large project. I heard overall was 5.6.
Yeah, so this component, if I may say, our estimate is $1.5 million. The project itself is $5.67 million. So it's a component of
Of a
the
bigger
whole.
project,
Yes.
understood. Okay, okay, I don't have any other questions. Any questions, colleagues? Commissioner Corson? Oh, Vice President Villegas?
Oh, thank you. Just a quick question. I see that we don't have the capacity right now, right, to be able to take the high temperatures for any kind of like digestion of gas system, and so that's why we're needing this RFQ. Is that correct?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, two things. Just from based on the board report, it seems like the technology that we currently have is lapsed in the since we've last installed it in 1992, and so the plant itself has, I guess, like anaerobic digesters, and it gets into high heat, which emits gases. And so we are seeking a new firm or this RFQ to give us a system that can abate any kind of flares. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly the ultra low emission requirement, which the current flare do not meet. So that is one of the purpose that the new flares will meet those stringent requirements, as well as added capacity, as well as the current system. They are beyond their useful life. So we
Okay.
will achieve three goals with one purpose with this project.
Okay. And are we mandated by South Coast to do this, or are we doing this in advance of receiving any mandates?
I'm not aware of the permit requirements, but I'm sure that I have a plant representative here. But like at Hyperion, there are requirements, and those come under a specific order. I'm not aware of any specific order because, in my understanding, the Terminal Island reclamation plant is not in any violation at the moment. That's my understanding. I can be clarified.
Okay.
But I don't think so. There's any violation.
Thank you. I just wanted to put that on record. And then my next question is, I lost my train of thought. It just left. Okay. I think that's helpful, just to, be able to, I guess, put on record that we don't necessarily have any. Oh, I know, I remember. Will the design of this, after you get bids in for through this RFQ process, will the design or the work that a firm provides us be kind of shared with AQMD, or will there be some collaboration?
Yeah, so those suppliers, they specializes in meeting the AQMD requirements, and
Okay.
that's their specialty. That's why we want them at the design stage, so that somebody designs meeting those stringent requirements set forth by AQMD,
Okay.
and not during just design, but during installation and post installation.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. I don't have any more questions.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Commissioner Corson?
Thank you. This seems like a very specialized endeavor. So when we're putting out this RFQ, how many do you actually expect to bid?
If you may ask, we anticipate 3 to 4 at the most. Suppliers may submit their statement of qualification. Uh, Now, that is my guess, but when we reach the stage when the submittal comes, then so we will find out.
So what steps could you take to make sure if it's going to be 3 or 4, which could ultimately just be 1, what steps can we take to maybe make sure we get the best price and best product?
So we will advertise in local publications. We will also advertise at RAMP website. On our own, we can contact her, but that's a standard procedure that, and then we will have a pre-proposal or a job walk as well.
I guess what I'm asking is more specifically when it's something so specialized, do we do any homework on costs to kind of guide potential bidders on where there should be rather than just putting out, when we put out the estimates and they come in a lot higher on something this specialized, I just want to make sure we don't end up having to pick something that is a lot higher than what our estimates are going to be.
Yeah, that we will find out once we have their submittal. But as far as reaching out to them and ensuring their participation, that would be through local publications and RAMP website.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Commissioner Reyes?
Yeah, and also for clarification, because you mentioned sole source, right? And really, we have to look at the qualifications, scope of work, experience, technical expertise. Will this consultant, once it's sole source, have the opportunity to also subcontract areas of work? Yeah, that I just want it clear on the record that there is sub-consulting, subcontracting opportunities for this project.
Okay. I don't have answer to your specific question regarding the sub participation requirements at this level, but I can get back to you on that. I can get back to you on your specific question whether there would be any sub-consultant opportunities under the sole source. I will get back to you that, but generally I can share the selection criteria if you're interested, or that's not your question, right?
I just want to be assured, and the public assured, that even though this is sole source, there are work areas that can be contracted out, or there are sub-consultants or subcontractors that will be part of this RFQ.
So what we do, if I may put it this way, that we have like 5 elements or criteria on the basis of which we would be selecting the sole source suppliers, and those do not specify or require any sub-consultant. But let's say any sole source supplier, they submit their statement of qualification. We really look at their key technical expertise, their manufacturing experience, their supplier experience with LSAN and any references, and whether they are located in the continental USA or not. So if they can supplement their proposal in these areas, that we have somebody who is technical expertise, who is so in my opinion, that's a valid, but as such what if I recall, like there is no like MSM mandatory sub-consultant minimum as we would have on our construction contracts. So the sole source, as far as I can tell at my current knowledge, I don't think so. That's part or applicable in this case. But I can research more and get back to you if there is any sole source sub-consultant requirement on this. But the selection criteria is fairly, do not include sub-consultant.
I think it will depend on the qualifications of the consultant that you will choose, but that opportunity should always be out there for sub-consulting, subcontracting, so that then it opens up opportunities for smaller services to be included in such a big contract. That's just my point. So if you could take a look at it and get back to us with information about that aspect for this RFQ, I would appreciate it.
Sure, I will look at that if there is a sub-consultant requirement or anything. But I'm aware that on our construction contract, we do mention minimum mandatory subcontractor minimum.
Okay.
But I'm not aware of we keep on this one.
Commissioner Reyes, are you comfortable moving it forward, or would you want to dive into why we cannot have a sub-consultant, or should we look at any opportunities to have a sub-consultant?
I'm comfortable moving it forward, but I would like you to take a look at the opportunity for sub-consultants, subcontractors.
Sure, Commissioner.
And on that end, why wouldn't we look at that from the beginning? Why, why did we get this far and not look at that opportunity? Is there a reason why? Do we know? Teresa? Okay. Because we're always trying to see how we can have a sub-consultant, or at least a minimum requirement to sub-consult. Is there a reason why we didn't look at that for this project?
Yeah, for any of these are, I would say, design as well as package manufacturers. So I'm aware of that. We do keep in our construction contracts, but these are like very specialized design and very specialized manufacture. So like even in the whole United States, I would say if there are only 3 of them or 4 of them, and if we put some of those, that's my own opinion, if we put some minimum requirement that they have to find sub to do a certain work, that may, like when at the time of proposal, instead of 3 or 4, we may only receive 1, because that's why on not just this, but the selection criteria or requirement, you won't find any sub-consultant. I haven't seen any in 18 years with the city. You will certainly find if the work is related to regular construction, but it's highly specialized, so I would say that's the reason it's not.
Okay, fair enough. It seems like if that would have been a requirement, but I look forward to getting back to Commissioner Reyes's question, and I understand that we would probably limit, because this is my understanding from what you're saying, this is such a specialized scope of work that it might minimize the amount of bids coming in, right? Because then now we have to, but there wasn't any products or services or something that they could have done. So we'll just put it out there, because I just know that that's something that this board is always looking at to see how we can be able to really spread out the funding that we have. Okay, any other questions? Vice President Villegas?
I do have just a clarifying question. Your anticipated schedule here, we're already, you're requesting to issue the RFP, is that correct? The RFQ? You're requesting to issue the RFQ?
Yeah, so we are requesting to issue and advertise the RFP.
Okay. And on here, on your attachment for this item, and just the preliminary schedule, looks like notification of selection would be in September 8th. Are you behind, or is this schedule not accurate?
Actually, we started the process much earlier, but for various administrative reasons, I think I briefed some time ago as well, but various administrative reasons, the board report, it took a while. So the schedule that you see is outdated because we started much earlier, but it says, schedule says it's expected. The whole process should take no more than 8 to 10 weeks. And the and when we are issuing it, we can update that schedule.
Okay, so the schedule is not accurate.
That's correct.
All right. TJ or city attorney, since the schedule on here isn't accurate, I'd hate to, approve this item and somebody goes back to the record and sees that they may have missed something, they may have missed a deadline. Should we hold this off for a week, or how can it be corrected before we move forward?
So, Vice President Villegas, so just so I'm clear, the item number 3 contains recommendations, but you're looking at the supporting documentation that includes an error in
Correct.
So I don't think that we would need to hold off at this time. We could request from the Bureau that they provide a corrected
Okay.
schedule, but the recommendations that are before you do not include that specific
All right.
timeline.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Nadir, can you all do that? Provide an updated schedule?
Yeah, we can provide the
Okay.
updated schedule.
All right, just so that the record is accurate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you for that. I think in addition, we can, just because on number 2, TJ, we have evaluate and pre-qualified respondent based upon the requirements and procedures set forth in the RFQ. Maybe we can just say that as amended with technical corrections, because it's just date corrections that we have to do. Is that right, Ms. Chow? Okay. So I'll put as amended with technical corrections. Okay. Any other questions, colleagues? Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith as amended with technical corrections? Thank you, Commissioner Corzine. Is there a second? Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by Commissioner Corzine and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 3 forward and forthwith with as amended.
As amended, so we'll take a roll call vote on item number 3, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
And item number 3 is approved, all ayes, as amended, forthwith.
Great, thank you very much. Mr. Shaw, you're still on the hot seat right there. Item number 4, this is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration in Council District 13. And just for the record, we do have a public comment card, but, Go ahead.
I believe he is not in the room at this time.
okay,
Is our commentator on item number 4 in the room? Last call?
starts with the letter F.
Not in the room at this time, thank you.
Okay, public comment for item number 4 is now officially closed. This is a request in Council District 13 for a contract award, PPC Construction, Inc., Los Angeles Glendale Water Reclamation Plant, Sodium Hypochlorite Facility Relocation Capital Improvement Project 4200, recommending the board to, 1, declare PPC Inc. the first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder, and award PPC a contract for the Los Angeles Glendale Water Reclamation Plant Sodium Hypochlorite Facility Relocation Capital Improvement Project 4200 for $5,737,8,335, and 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. And then, Mr. Shaw?
Thank you. Nadir Shah, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. Today I'm here to brief you on the award of contract to PPC Construction for Capital Improvement Project CIP 4200, Los Angeles Glendale Water Reclamation Plant, Sodium Hypochlorite Facility Relocation. The main objective of this project is to build a new sodium hypochlorite storage and dosing facility and decommission the existing one The scope of work under this project involves site preparation, demolishing an unused alum and bisulfate facility, installing two 12,000-gallon tanks, 3 new pump dosing system, and new piping. Also, necessary structural, civil, and electrical enhancements, as well as integration to the existing distributed control system. The construction duration is set at 450 calendar days. The project is exempt under California Environmental Quality Act CEQA as of June 3rd, 2016. Also want to give the bidding overview. On May 24, 2023, we received 2 bids, and PPC Construction was the first low bidder with the bid of $5,738,335. This is 29.54% lower than the city engineer estimate of 8.144 million. PPC qualifies as a local business enterprise and small business enterprise. This is a crucial aim to promote local business. PPC has pledged participation levels as per the Business Inclusion Program and meets the required mandatory subcontractor minimum participation level. PPC has a reliable track record, having successfully completed several projects with the Board of Public Works. Currently, PPC, as part of this contract, will comply with the city's non-discrimination policies, including affirmative action, equal employment opportunity, living wage ordinance, among others. The project has a project labor agreement promoting local employment opportunities and providing apprenticeship training. It is our recommendation to declare PPC Construction first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award PPC a contract for CIP 4200 for $5,738,335. Thank you. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Shaw. Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, any objections? Seeing none, I don't have any other questions either myself. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 4 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 4 forward and forthwith.
Very good, and we'll take a roll call vote on item number 4, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and item number 4 is approved forthwith.
Great. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Mr. Shaw, for this morning. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
All right, colleagues, we are now in our oral report section. So today we have the Metro Department here, and the Department of Transportation that will be doing their quarterly update on transportation projects update. So if the Metro team can come up, please. Thank you guys for being here, by the way, and glad that you got some restful time.
Good morning, Madam President, board members. I'm Jim Cohen. I'm sitting in for Sammy Galley. I'm also the project manager for Section 1 of the Purple Line. And well, I'll start off with that, and then I'll introduce the other Metro members here. Okay, so first slide is our typical slide, just showing the breakup of sections 1, 2, and 3, and some of the stats. I'll go through that. Next slide, please. Here we are at Section 1. Again, it's 3 stations, about 4 miles of tunnel. We start off at Wilshire Western, the end of the existing Purple Line. We have stations at Wilshire La Brea, Wilshire Fairfax, and Wilshire La Cienega. We are 100% finished with design, 85% complete with construction, and we forecast revenue service in the spring of 25. Next, please. This slide shows you some of the work that's going on at Wilshire La Brea. The upper right photograph shows DWP. We're just about ready for permanent power at our station, which is a major milestone. We expect to have permanent power hopefully by the end of next week. The lower right photograph is some of the equipment going in. This is some of the communications equipment. And the lower left is a traction power equipment, which actually powers the trains on the rails in the station itself. We are doing curb gutter, sidewalk, and bus lane restoration at the street surface. We continue to work on the station entrance and build out of some of the ancillary rooms. But again, at La Brea Station, based on where we are right now in construction, it's a lot of electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and systems to be installed. Next, please. Fairfax. Fairfax is a little further behind as far as the sequence of construction than La Brea, but you can see from the upper right photograph, that's the cable tray. Those are hung from the ceilings, and those will eventually carry a lot of the cables, either communications or high voltage cables, to a lot of the equipment that's going in. The lower right photograph is a CIC cabinet. That's a communications interface cabinet, and that's where a lot of the conduits and the cables come up. They get landed and then transferred to different locations within the station. And the lower left is ductwork. Again, you can consider our stations as like a 50-story underground skyscraper, but just horizontal instead of vertical. And so we have a lot of ductwork to make sure that there's enough airflow and make it safe during any emergency conditions. Again, at Fairfax, we're doing work on the surface, appendage work and civil restoration, entrance structure, building out some of the ancillary rooms that the public doesn't see in order to make the stations function, elevators, stairs, and escalators. Next, please. To give you guys a heads up, we'll be looking forward and have a formal board report for a full closure at Wilshire Western for about 10 days continuous. This is to remove the decking and close up our access hatch. I'm not sure if you remember, but we put our tunnel boring machines in at Wilshire La Brea. They tunneled 2 miles to the east, and we took them out right at the interface of Wilshire Western. So we had to have a small compared to a station, access shaft in the middle of Wilshire Boulevard, where we removed the TBMs and brought them back to La Brea and moved them out to the west. So right now we're in the stage in the first quarter of 24. We'll be coming back to you with a formal board report to close that section of street for about 10 days. I think it's near the President's Day weekend. We did the same thing when we built that access hatch, 10-day continuous closure. So we're going to undo what we did many years ago. So that's on the table right there. Next slide, please. And Angela, you come up and we have the BIF. If you want to speak on the BIF for section.
Good morning. Again, my name is Angela Winston, and I'm the director of the Business Interruption Fund and the Business Solutions Center. So for Purple Line Section 1, as you can see, the grants awarded, 294. That's up 5 from the last time we reported out to this board. Grant value, a little over $7.7 million since the last report. That's up a little over $200,000 on the grant value. And for the businesses, 97 businesses, which is up 1 more from the last time we reported out. Thank you.
And that ends my presentation on Section 1. Is there any questions before I bring up the Section 2 project manager?
Thank you for that. Any questions, colleagues, on Section 1? Vice President Villegas? No. Okay. Hearing none.
I'm going to bring up the Deputy Executive Officer for our Section 2, Zeph Arley, please, and he'll.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your update.
Good morning. My name is Zeph Farley, Deputy Executive Officer for Purple Line Section 2. Our project is just about 60% complete. As you know, it runs from the Wilshire La Cienega station through Beverly Hills, and we have one station, Century City Constellation Station, You can show that on the next slide here. And obviously you don't need a geography lesson, but it's on Constellation Boulevard between Century Park East, Century Park West, right at the intersection of Avenue of the Stars. Next slide. Since most of our project is in Beverly Hills, not a lot of construction that you guys need to pay attention to, but obviously the work that we have at Century City Station is important. You can move on to the next slide. You can see how much progress we've made. The biggest thing for you people to know right now is that we're 97% complete with excavation, and for that it's really exciting for us because that means we move into concrete construction. We actually get to build the station. The station itself, as Jim's station is, a 900-foot long terminal station. We intend to be open in 2025. And there's an awful lot of work that goes into that. We have bracing level 7 that still needs to be constructed at the far west end of the station. Much of the concrete work that's underway is to build the walls that are the first level that people will see when they get off at the platform. We also continue from those walls up to the concourse level, eventually construct a roof and do backfill of the station, but that's the next few years out. Importantly for us, the concrete invert slab is about 70% complete. We can't actually do the rest of the station construction without having the bottom fully constructed. And that's the piece that we're most interested right now. You can see the picture on the left-hand side at the top. That's some of the reinforcing that's going inside the walls at the east end of the station. The bottom picture shows some of the waterproofing that's being used to construct the station to keep it watertight throughout the duration of the operation of the station. Importantly, we also have some storm drain relocation work that's being done in the middle of Avenue of the Stars. We've had a long-term lane closure in the middle of the intersection there to construct a 36-inch diameter storm drain that's part of relocation efforts in order to construct the station. That project should be done in terms of building the storm drain sometime in October, November. After the storm drain is completely backfilled, we still will end up taking lane closures to construct some of the appendages. And so if you move to the next slide, you can see some of the underground concrete work. That's the reinforcement. Keep going to the next slide, and this will be my last slide here that I'll speak to. But we have had a series of lane closures throughout Los Angeles, either on Constellation Boulevard, the specific intersection of Constellation and Avenue of the Stars, and the intersections both north and south. For the next few quarters, we don't anticipate any full closures for Purple Line Section 2 work, but we will continue to use lane closures to do finish work for the storm drain relocation, continue to construct the underground station, and also to start building some of the appendages that provide additional emergency exit into and out of the station. So with that, I'll turn it over to Angela again for BIF.
And for Section 2 of the Purple Line, for BIF, we've awarded 156 grants, up 3 from our last report to this board. Grant value for a little over $4.3 million. And again, since our last report, about $124,000 more than before. In the business count, individual businesses, 57, up 1 more from our last report. Thank you.
Any questions on Section 2?
I see Commissioner Reyes and then Vice President Villegas.
Just out of curiosity, since you mentioned the storm drain alignment or realignment, in terms of what we're experiencing right now with climate change, the flash floods, torrential rain, atmospheric pressure, are we doing anything more to upgrade them, or is there any mechanism that we're doing to accommodate what these forecasts will be in the future for us to experience more, rain or flash floods?
So specifically in terms of what's been upgraded, the storm drain itself was designed to city standards. It's a 36-inch diameter pipe, and it's using a Hobus is the name of the manufacturer that's using a specific resin. That's a pipe material that's designed to have a very long shelf life, that's designed to last for hurricanes, earthquakes, everything else that can be done. But specifically, Metro is simply building something that Public Works is requiring that be done to their most recent standards.
That's interesting to know, and really just really looking as to the upgrades, what's available out there, and that if you're working very closely with our Public Works, there's that reassurance. I was just curious if there's anything different that we're doing because
Not
of
that I'm
what
specifically aware of, but we have partnered. Obviously, we have to get BOE approval of the design of the storm drain itself. And so they were very, very much involved in evaluating the design as it was being developed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Vice President Villegas?
So to be very specific, we have lane closures, but not full street closures. Yes. Yes, so we do still have continued lane closures on Constellation Boulevard and in the middle of Avenue of the Stars, and we'll continue to have various lanes closed, but in terms of closing the full street, we don't need a full street closure. And that, years and years ago, we needed a full street closure to launch the tunnel boring machines and get a bunch of equipment in and underground. For Section 2, we don't have any further need to do a full street closure on Constellation Boulevard for our work. We'll still likely have some lane closures, but the amount of lanes closed will greatly reduce because work in the middle of Avenue of the Stars should be wrapped up. It is. Thank you.
Thank you, VP Villegas. That was Section 2. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Section 3, Matthew Crow will be speaking.
Good morning, President Garcia and commissioners. My name is Matthew Crow. I'm the Deputy Executive Officer for Section 3 of the Purple Line. Kimberly Ong, who's the project manager, sends her apologies. She's actually off sick today, and you're pleased to know she's not showing up and making you sick. Bye. Okay, so that's why I'm here. Excuse my accent as well. If I need to repeat anything, do ask me to do that. So first, just remind you, Section 3, it's the last section of the Purple Line, very similar to Sections 1 and 2. It's 2.5 miles of subway. We're actually about 50% complete. We had a little update since that slide was prepared. So we're almost halfway home. So, which is kind of good to report. We've got a revenue service date we hope for is the 2027, which is earlier than the full funding grant agreement date of 2028. Just the big overview of the project, about where we are. The twin board running tunnels are complete. So that's 2.5 mile long tunnels, and we've done completed some of the cross passages, some of the 14 cross passages between them, and the two stations. The one at in the middle of the picture is at UCLA on Wilshire Boulevard. We're in the process of excavation, and likewise with the station to the far west. It's the terminus of the current Purple Line extension. Is on the VA campus. Okay, it's outside. It's in a little bit of federal property rather than being within the city of Los Angeles. So, next slide. So, just I was mentioned the cross passages. We've got four cross passages out of the 14 we've been working on. 3 of them cross passages 53, 54, and 55, which are at the far western end of the project. So that's 3 of the 14. We've actually completed the excavation of those, and instead of using a tunnel boring machine, we're using more kind of hand methods, with small equipment rather than a tunnel boring machine. And if you look at the bottom left photograph, it kind of looks like a cave. What you're actually seeing, that's someone standing in one of the running tunnels. They're about 25 feet apart and looking into the completed cross passage. So that's kind of the white kind of cave-like thing. And at the far end, there's another piece of concrete, and that is the backside of the other running tunnel. So we've done 3 out of the 14. And then the picture on the right is before we do this hand excavation, we like to do stabilization of the ground with ground improvement, so which is in essence drilling a bunch of holes and pumping in a cementitious grout to stabilize the ground. So we're well on with the cross passages and the running tunnels completed, which is great. Next slide. This is the Westwood UCLA station. So that's on Wilshire Boulevard. And we're actually working underneath decking. So if you go to the site today, you'll see a small construction site to one side, just to the north, and you'll see a concrete road surface. And you won't really see any work going on. And that is because all the work is being done beneath this decking. So if you look at the bottom left photograph, you can see at the ceiling there is actually the underneath of the road, and it's supported by steel beams, and they're excavating beneath. They're city utilities that are being hung from this decking. And we're about 38% complete with excavation. And then I put this picture on the right here because just showing, this is just one of the things we're having to support. So the right-hand picture is actually a LA DWP electrical vault. And that's this massive concrete box that's full of live electrical cables that we're supporting from the decking. So it just kind of shows kind of the magnitude of what we're doing. It's not just a few little pipes. But the excavation is, as I say, is well underway. And so next slide. This is the station at the far west of the project. The station is the same size station, but it also includes a crossover at each end of the station to enable trains to go from one track to another. So the excavation is much longer. What's kind of neat about this, is unusual for the city, is because we're working in the VA campus, we don't have the decking above us, so we're able to do it, with open to the sky, which is kind of nice. And we're about just over 40% complete with excavation there. And I guess the big thing that we've completed, we had to relocate a whole bunch of mission-critical facilities because we're actually building the station right outside the front entrance of a very major hospital for the Department of Veterans Affairs, and they have various utilities, including steam, which they use for all sorts of things. And it was a major day when we finally commissioned the new steam tunnel and demolished the old, because it really enabled us to really have at it with this excavation. The other reason I put these pictures here is just a subtle difference, if anyone's interested in a little bit of techie stuff, is where we're doing the main box of the station, we're using these steel soldier piles and timber lagging. And then you can see these horizontal pipe struts to hold the walls apart. But for the main entrance, we're using, instead of using these pipe struts, we're generally using tiebacks, which are steel tendons grouted into the ground to hold the walls back, and shotcrete. And that's why I put that there. A little bit of education, if anyone's interested. I thought I'd let you know that. Next slide. And just on schedule, we've got the schedule for the UCLA station, because that's the schedule that really affects city work, because it's in probably one of the busiest streets well, it's certainly the busiest street in LA, but maybe in one of the busiest streets in the world. And it's showing the schedule there. And in general, the rest of this year, we're doing digging holes down, so we're excavating and support. And then 2024 is concreting the station. You saw those wonderful photographs from the section 2, and then in 2025, we really start with the fit out, building walls and putting in all the fancy mechanical and electrical kit and systems and finishes that make up a station. One thing that I would like to mention is a couple of things is towards the end of 2025, we'll be removing this temporary deck, and that will obviously affect traffic on Wilshire. We're not closing Wilshire. We'll be doing lane closures and do it. And we've been working with the city family on that, particularly LADOT, to make sure that's as smooth as possible. The other things we'll be doing later in late in 25 is we've also got to build the UCLA station has 3 entrances. The main entrance is on the UCLA Lot 36 parking lot. The 2 eastern entrances are kind of shoehorned into buildings near the project, and they will again require some significant lane closures. And again, we're working with your LA Dot and also other folks in the city family to ensure that's as relatively pain-free. But we have got to build this project, and we need to build it. We will be completing it in 4 years' time. It's not like we'll try; we will. And the other thing just to mention is Zeph was talking about what's going on at Constellation. We've completed the running tunnels, but we have 2 tunnel boring machines at the moment. They're parked outside the Constellation station, just at the west end of the station, 70 feet underground. And our constructor will be when they've completed the excavation of Constellation, they'll be pushing those machines into the station excavation and removing them at the surface at Constellation, and that will be having some lane closures. Just on that, we've been working, we've been talking with all the surrounding stakeholders. I was going to name them, but I'll fall into that trap of missing one of them out, like a wedding speech, so I won't. But we've been working very, very carefully with each of those stakeholders, and we've got concurrence about what our plans are, which makes LA Dot's decision a lot easier when granting lane closures, that we've done the homework there with the stakeholders.
Thank you so much. Are you going to do the bid interruption? Okay.
And for the Business Interruption Fund Purple Line Extension, Section 3, we've gotten a running start there. Apologies, that should say number of grants awarded 4, which is up from 2 from the last time we reported out. Grant value of $150,000. Since the last report, that's $130,725 more. And our business count is 2, up from 1 in our last report. And then for our BIF total for all projects, and of course that would include the Crenshaw LAX project, as well as the Little Tokyo area and the 2nd and Broadway area of the regional connector. In addition to the Purple Line extensions 1, 2, and 3, we've awarded a total of 1,530 grants for a grant value of just over $38 million and a business count of 451. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that information. Any questions, colleagues, on Section 3? I have one just question. Given that you had open air on the Westwood VA station on Main Street, you're in excavation mode right now, right? How did you survive the storm? Or not you, but how did that whole field survive the storm?
One of the things that I like everyone here in LA, I'm really glad we get rain. We've had rain this year, so I need to be very careful. But we've had a lot of rain beginning of the year, and then we had that rain last month. And how do we survive that? With the open excavation, well, it fills up with water, and then the constructor has to use pumps in order to remove that water. And likewise with our covered excavations. But a lot of forward planning, making sure that, we talked about storm drains, is making sure that we've got adequate temporary storm drain provision for when we've got these wet weather events. And we design to standards set by the city for the design of these temporary facilities, and they're reviewed and approved by the city. But rain is not. It's kind of we like rain, but it's not the best thing for construction.
I agreed. Thank
But
you.
it isn't. One of the things is not unexpected. We do get rain here in LA. We just forget we do sometimes.
Yeah, and then it was unprecedented to have it, in August, September? It was just a couple of weeks ago that we had that.
Yeah, it was.
the storm.
Yeah. That
Usually
was,
we don't get that.
that's unusual. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not unprecedented. I think it happened in the 70s. I think those of us who are here, I don't know. Were you here in the 70s?
All right.
Okay.
Let me bring up the project manager for the East San Fernando Valley Light Rail Project, Greg Gessel.
Oh, just before we, Mr. You're not Sam. Just quick question, just before we move out of the purple line, and it's basic, is the contractor one contractor only, Tudor? Give me a question. I just saw them right here. Tudor, Perini, and O&G. Those are the contractors for all Purple Line?
No. For section 1, it's the joint venture SDS, Skanska, Trailer, Shea.
Okay.
Section 2.
Section 2 is Tudor, Perini, and O&G as the principal, and section 3 has 2 different contractors.
So section 3, just to be different, as a reason for it, is we've got 2 principal, we've split the project into 2 principal parts. We've got a tunneling and cross passages contract, which is being constructed by Frontier Camper, Tudor, Perini joint venture, and the stations and all the rest is being constructed by a joint venture of Tudor, Perini, O&G.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for putting in the contractor's name on that one, but thank you for giving me that answer. Okay, East Valley, excited about this.
Okay. Very good. Good morning, President Garcia and Commissioners. A pleasure to be here. My name is Greg Asselm. I'm a Senior Executive Officer with LA Metro and the Project Manager for the East San Fernando Valley Light Rail Project. The project will enhance transit opportunities within Van Nuys Boulevard, serving the communities of Van Nuys, Panama City, Aleta, and Pacoima. We will also be interfacing with the G line that's out there, our bus rapid transit system, and also providing a connection with our Amtrak and Metrolink station. Next slide, please. The project received environmental approval for CEQA requirements back in 2020, and in 2021 we received a record of decision from the Federal Transit Administration for the final environmental impact study prepared for NEPA requirements. The project was going to be phased in 2 projects. The map to the right shows the alignment along Van Nuys Boulevard in blue, starting from the G line. It's actually going to start at Oxnard and then continue on all the way to San Fernando Road. A second segment of the project, the northern segment, is still under study per the board's request, so more information should be coming on that project separately.
That's your green one, right?
That's the green one, yes.
Okay.
And I'll go from the intersection of San Fernando and Van Nuys all the way up to the Metrolink station. And so with that, we're looking at 6.7 miles of a light rail facility along Van Nuys. And since the environmental documents were approved, we have continued moving forward with design on the project, and we'll be and so we have had some design refinements that have moved a need for removal of some right-of-way property from the project. We've also had some additional right-of-way property added to the project. So a lot of changes have been made in the last couple of years, and we're going to be going to our construction committee this month to share an addendum to the CEQA document prepared for this project and hopefully get approval on that. Concurrently, we've been working with the Federal Transit Administration and have submitted a reevaluation to confirm that we are still in compliance with NEPA requirements as well, and we're anticipating that we'll get approval of that by the end of this year. Next slide. To highlight a couple of the features, again, it's 6.7 miles of a light rail running at street level system. It has 11 center platform stations. If you can envision that in the middle of the road as we go down Van Nuys Boulevard, we'll have 10 traction power substations to provide the electrical power that will be running the overhead catenary system or delivered to our vehicles through our overhead catenary system. We're going to be looking at procuring 34 vehicles to get underway with a 6-minute headway or vehicles traveling every 6 minutes along the corridor. They will be a 3-train concept to accommodate demand needs as we go through, as we continue to initiate service and go through when the peak periods require. The project also has a maintenance and storage facility that will be dedicated directly to this service. And so the service doesn't at this time tie into any other light rail services. So there was a need for a facility to accommodate periodic maintenance and certainly storage of the vehicles. So that will be located just directly across from the Metrolink and Amtrak station. And so we are currently right now procuring the right-of-way to secure that. Our target revenue service date is in still 2030, and we have a project budget of a little over, it's around $3.6 billion. So we're continuing to refine that, and we'll be moving forward and providing you updates as we get further along on that process. Again, this shows a depiction of a typical section of what the alignment might look like. Again, we're maintaining 2 lanes of traffic throughout most of the corridor. Where there's 1 lane, we'll continue to keep that up towards the Pacoima area. And this kind of shows you that the lane configurations as they approach the intersections that will be maintained will accommodate left turns in some areas. And so the alignment will be kind of meandering through Van Nuys Boulevard. It won't be a straight shot. And certainly where we have to widen to accommodate the center platforms, we'll again have to widen the tracks. So if you can envision that going through, this kind of shows the tightest right-of-way where we have 100 feet of right-of-way within the existing Van Nuys Boulevard roadway. And so this kind of shows that we'll have at least we're trying to shoot for 10-foot minimum sidewalk areas. And then certainly the lane configurations is adjacent to the light rail system. Part of this, as you can imagine, Van Nuys Boulevard has a number of utilities throughout that corridor. And so that's one of our first areas of effort is to start removing some of those utilities that are in direct conflict with the construction of a light rail system. This depicts a rendering of a station. It's basically our kit of parts, and you've probably seen it in some of the other projects we have delivered for the region here. And basically we'll have access on both sides of a raised platform down the center of the street there. And we certainly intend to include some unique artwork to reflect the communities as we continue to develop that program. And it will have the standard benches and receptacles, lighting, shading, and certainly the vending and validating machines at the approaches to the area where people congregate and wait for the trains. Our next slide shows just a depiction of our maintenance and storage facility. It's going to be we're looking at 21 acres to accommodate all the needs, and it will again be able to expand if necessary to accommodate any increases in our fleet service there, and basically accommodate maintenance and storage of our facilities, of our vehicles. Our funding plan consists of Federal Transit Administration participation through their Expedited Project Delivery Pilot Program, state grants, and local measures. And one of the things that I want to highlight is that the Federal Transit Administration, we've been working with them very closely, and we are looking to hopefully execute a full funding grant agreement by next year in May timeframe or spring timeframe. So that's one of our first and foremost priorities, and it's looking to bring in a little over $900 million to the region in their participation. And our project is the only one left in this pilot program. So we're pretty proud of that, and we're really trying hard to achieve that. We can achieve this as well as FTA in the Region 9 folks. They're really supportive of us, and we're going to continue to move forward, and we're on schedule to achieve that goal. The project will be delivered by 3 construction methods. We already have one in place. The current one is a standard construction contract to relocate some utility work that is ongoing. It was procured through the design bid build process. We also are utilizing a progressive design build construction contract and a public-private partnership contract to deliver the majority of the rest of the project. We are in the pre-construction phases of both of those latter projects, and we're working through at this point looking at scope to make certain that we understand the remaining design work that needs to be achieved, because the contractor will take over where we left off and then move forward and advance that. We're looking at the way they want to build the project. At first we started looking at maybe from a south to north type approach. Now they're looking at both, where they can clear the majority of their early utility work as quickly as possible, and then possibly advancing from both the north and south side. So we're working through a lot of that, and we'll have more information to share as we continue those discussions with our contractor. The public-private partnership component of that, and it was a requirement to be eligible for the federal pilot program, is providing solar panels and a battery storage system to facilitate the operation of the maintenance and storage facility. So they'll be located up on top of the buildings, and we're working together, the contractors are working together with their contractors and design team to ensure that everything is coordinated and compatible with the needs of the facility. Next slide is the schedule, and I just wanted to highlight the blue star there. That is, where we intend to hopefully secure our full funding grant agreement, as mentioned before. This is a very high-level schedule that shows a lot of activities that we have done to get secure contracts to support design effort and review through our construction management team, and it also shows the next 2 PDB contracts, and as well as a project completion date. So we have a lot of activities going on, and with the intent of continuing on with those utility relocations through advancing some early work packages through our progressive design build contractor. And I didn't mention I apologize, it's a joint venture of Stacy and Wetback and Skanska. So, and we're co-located together right now, and we're currently looking to see if we can move our location from downtown to someplace closer to the project site. So that's underway as we speak. And then our next slide just shows some utility work that's going on through our utility contract. We've been working with Department of Water and Power to get some advanced work. They have a lot of vaults down the middle of Van Nuys, as you can imagine, and so we're trying to relocate those as quickly as we can. Our current contract is intended to be, or planned to be completed by the end of this year, if not early January. We intend to follow up with advancing some additional utility work through another advanced packages along the corridor, so we won't miss a beat, and you'll still see construction activity continue out there through the effort of relocating some of those vaults that are along the center of the road. And so right now we don't have anything as far as full street closures planned. We are talking to the contractor though, and we intend to explore other areas that are unique as part of traffic control to see how they can construct this project in the most efficient manner, certainly providing minimal impacts to the community, first and foremost, providing safe working environments, and then hopefully being able to expedite construction of the project and hopefully save some time and cost savings to all of us as well. So that will be more information that we're ready to share with, or hopefully hopefully can share with you in the future presentations. But right now, we are currently negotiating that and trying to ensure that we have a solid understanding of the way they want to approach the work and understanding all the constraints that they may have to also deal with, including right-of-way and certainly working with some of the small businesses and whatnot. And we'll touch base on that next. We have certainly in support of our current construction efforts, we have a lot of outreach activities going on, everything from participating in neighborhood council meetings, having open houses to kind of share and start getting the community ready for the major construction components that hopefully we'll have engaged by the end of next year, and just a lot of outreach events and activities to support current construction activities as well as educate the community on what's to come and where we are on the development of the project in general. And then as Angela has been sharing with you, we have not started our pilot business interruption fund project yet. We're in the process of getting that planned for, but the board did approve the utilization of that program for this project. So more to come on that one as well. And we intend to do a business solutions center as well as some other programs to, again, facilitate and ensure that we can work in understand exactly what the community and the businesses, how they operate, what their needs are as we continue to move forward and advance the construction work and have our contractor engage them as well so that we know how to best stage and ensure that we can, they can continue to maintain business and we can complete construction. So that's about the end of my program, and I'm ready to answer any questions if you'd like.
Great. Thank you so much for this very thorough update that you just provided. I do have a couple of questions, and I'm probably my colleagues as well. One very big high-level question, and I'm, no pun intended, the train already left the station, but I still want to know this. I wasn't here for your last report, and I didn't get to ask it, but why did we choose to go up, why did we choose to be above ground and not underground for this project? Ooh.
That's a good question. I know that it was evaluated, and I just know that this was selected as the least impactful, the street grade. But what we could do is I can follow up to the board here.
I would appreciate that because I live in the East San Fernando Valley area, and I get asked that all the time, and I really don't have an answer.
Let me research the environmental document in our planning group, and we'll definitely respond back to that question.
Yes, and if there was any community groups that you tackled this question, I would want to hear their responses if you have that as well. I just need to know, why did we choose to go above ground and not underground versus, we just went through a 20-minute presentation of the Purple Line that it's all underground. So if you can please provide that question, that goes to all the Metro team. My second question is, has the new Councilwoman Padilla been updated, and is she involved with this development of construction?
I believe that we have scheduled outreach and some briefing opportunities with her. I don't have a date for you on that, but if they haven't, they're certainly we're working towards that. We do provide a lot of briefings to a lot of our leadership out there. We just provided Congressman Cardenas, his staff came out, and so they've been out a couple times, so we definitely provided them, as well as our Senator Padilla, and some of the board members have also requested to have tours on the project. We'd love, if there's interest in a tour, we'd love to host you on a tour of the corridor if there's any interest in that as well. And we can share with you exactly where we're at and what we envision the corridor to look like at the end of the construction.
Okay, I think I will take you up on that, but if you can just give me the official reasoning of that. My third question, and I appreciate that Councilwoman Padilla will be briefed. She's been now in position for maybe 2 months, 3 months. She should definitely be up aware. I imagine you've already had multiple meetings with Councilwoman Rodriguez as well.
And we just had one with the councilwoman, as well as we continue to have meetings with the council districts involved in the corridor, and I believe it's 2, 6, and 7. We with staff, and so we have those meetings every I think they're every couple weeks, and so just to let them know how things are moving forward and how they have and some of the requests that the council members have asked for information on. But we recently also had one with Council Member Rodriguez herself and our CEO Stephanie Wiggins. So we'll continue to do that, and I look forward to meeting the new council member as well and making a presentation.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I appreciate you guys keeping the council offices up to date. You also, there's on your page 23, removing one lane of traffic in each direction and removing all on-street parking. Do you intend to do that for all of the corridor?
Yes, well, not all of the corridor. Up in the Pacoima area, going in the northbound direction, there's some existing parking that we're going to be able to remain in place. That's where they kind of narrowed it down to one lane. So we believe that we're still going to be able to maintain that traffic or that parking in the area. There are segments of the corridor that also have bikeways on it, and we're working really hard with the city right now to get a project underway to put a bike lane system on a parallel route to Van Nuys Boulevard. That'd be Terabella. And so we're hoping to get that up and running and implemented prior to the major construction contract activities being worked on. So that would be another thing that is kind of going to have to, because basically what's happening is a lot, as you see in this little typical section on that one slide, we're having to narrow the lane widths. We basically have taken the shoulder areas along Van Nuys Boulevard and the most narrow areas away and put traffic lanes on them. And so we have, I believe it's 12 foot on the outside, and then the interior lanes are 10 feet, and then there's a mountable curb, and then you have the trolley system in place. And so while we have areas, and again, it expands and contracts as you go through the corridor, and to accommodate, again, the stations, and then the approach lane configurations to maintain left turn lanes at the approach to the intersections. But, there's very little right of way. And in some areas, we're having to expand into the existing sidewalks and to provide right turns, say, or whatever the other features are. And so we're trying to maintain a minimum of 10 foot of sidewalk from that property line, because a lot of the property line is the frontage of a building in a business. And so we're saying, okay, at minimum, we need 10 feet. Then what is left over from working from both sides? And then that's where we're coming up with a.
Okay, because right after, on page 24, you are also saying that you're gonna remove, that's 23, but on 24, you're removing all on-street parking. On the next page, you're saying that you are not going to build any new parking facilities. So what's the expectation there for those folks that that have cars?
That's to kind of clarify that at these stations, these online stations, there aren't going to be adjacent parking facilities to facilitate someone just driving to one of our 11 stations throughout the corridor. So they're going to be accessible through walking to the center of the corridor from either existing, cross-street parking locations, or coming off another transit system and jumping on board there. We certainly have the parking facilities that we could share at the G line station on the southern end, but we just wanted to clarify. I think the question had come up, for each station, are you also going to be providing some type of parking adjacent to each station? And the answer is no, that was not part of the project that was cleared.
Why was not that part of a project? And my question goes with, do we do it in other places? Where we build a station, do we build a parking adjacent to it?
I believe it all depends on the ridership volumes. Again, I'm not that familiar with the planning process that occurred, but I will find out. I can look into, what the environmental, how it was approached from the environmental approval perspective, and why the decision was made not to provide parking.
Please do, because from living in that area, parking is scarce already. and there's multiple apartment buildings around there, and we're technically reducing that. So I would love to see what study and results you guys found from ridership. And as I appreciate bike lanes and I appreciate folks getting into bikes, there's also a big, huge community in the Panorama City that's family-based. And I'm not saying that families don't use bikes, but most of families do use cars to travel with multiple kids. So I just want to make sure that we're being sensitive and that we're actually looking at the demographics and making common sense about that. So I'm worried that we're taking away on-street parking and for those businesses that aren't on Van Nuys, and then I'm worried that we're not even building parking for those that want to ride the train when they get there in a car or they park there or anything like that. So I don't find a mitigation here, but maybe there's something that I'm missing, or maybe I'm just missing the overall picture here. But I'm getting worried about the lack of parking that there will be for those families that have multiple cars.
I understand, and maybe next time we'll have one of my planning colleagues join me, and she is been part of the environmental process, and she's leading the addendum, and I'll definitely touch base with her when I get back to the office, and then we'll be able to respond back to the.
Please do, because I'm just worried about parking and folks trying to get here, and there's multiple apartment buildings in that area, and that consists of that needs a lot of parking. That's just like what it works. Give me 1 second. This new fleet storage, that's going to be new to the area?
Which one?
That fleet storage area that you have on Keswick for 21 acres, that's new? Is that going to be new completely?
That's been included in the project, and so if you are familiar with the area, we're looking at the area is encompassing all the properties that are to the north of Keswick and then along Raymer Street. That kind of circles along. It follows the right of way of the railroad and then the channel in the back. And so we had looked at that entire corridor and cleared the majority of that from an environmental review process. And so that's where our site is, and that's where we're currently, that has been approved for that site, and so we moved forward with advancing the acquisition process of each one of those properties.
Okay, understood. I don't have any other questions, but I would appreciate maybe a briefing just on this overall. I have other questions like this East San Fernando Project Community Leadership Council. I'm sure it exists. I've never heard about it before. It'll be great to know who are some of those folks giving information, and are they from the community? Arleta, Panorama City, Van Nuys?
I could speak a little bit on that, and we certainly can elaborate in the future discussions as we continue to roll that effort out. I believe we went out and solicited a response from the community members as to how many people would you want to participate. I believe we received something in the high 40s of applicants, and we've narrowed it down through interview processes and going through a very systematic approach of how we would select this committee. And we have come down and identified 15 members that are very excited to be part of such a committee. And the whole intent is for them to provide us feedback and us to provide them updates as to where we are in progress, and really provide a conduit to the groups that they represent in the various areas of communities that they're going to represent. It's a very diverse group. It covers all gamuts of the community out there, so I think it's very well represented from students through people that are retired, people that are in businesses that really part of the community for a long time and been engaged in other activities in committees in the planning and as things continue to move forward in the valleys. So that is going to be rolled out. That project will or that committee will be rolled out. I think is still with our CEO, and but it should be more news should be coming out soon on that, and then we intend to engage them really quickly and start getting that dialogue going together with our contractors, because we have them in the office now. And now, another thing that, and we may not have touched on this, one of the contract requirements in pre-construction requirement is to establish a cultural competency plan by the contractor. So we have been canvassing the corridor for a number of months now, and we're sharing that information. And now they are doing the same thing to better understand the makeup of all areas of the community, from businesses to the residential areas where the medical complexes are, where, you know, certainly the high schools and other schools, and certainly other areas of interest of the community, you know, churches and other areas where the community congregates. And so they are developing that concurrently as we go through the construction and design efforts, and they have been participating on the outreach events on our open house as well. So we're looking forward to at least coming out with a game plan from them. They've already submitted one, we've reviewed it, and we're trying to build from that. And hopefully by, you know, in the next few months, we'll have a plan from the contractor side to supplement everything Metro does on all these major projects. And that will really provide them certainly the understanding of what the needs are, and continue that dialogue at that level, so that when they're out there, you know, we want to make certain that there's no surprises, and there's a lot of coordination as we continue to advance the construction activities.
Thank you. I do remember the outreach on getting these community leaders for this council. I'm just going to ask that if you can please be aware that, one, they are from the community of Van Nuys, Arleta, and so forth. And second, that there's a family representation there. I just don't want to miss the fact that that community has a lot of families that live there with multiple children. And I just want to make sure that we're as sensitive and as equal on providing all kinds of services for them, and not disrupt their daily lives as much as we can.
Understood. Yeah, we definitely want that too. That's our intent.
Yeah, we have a lot of Spanish-speaking community there, so I just want to make sure that we're also doing this in Spanish, and that our Spanish community really understands what's going to happen in the next couple of years.
And that's part of that cultural competency plan, is to also have people that can speak the native language of wherever we're at, because the makeup of the community is various communities. Certainly, Spanish is one of the more.
I agree. I just want to make sure we're sensitive to families. That's all.
You got it.
I don't have any other questions. I look forward to the Business Interruption Fund update once we're up there, and I just want to make sure that our businesses that are in Van Nuys right now do not get impacted. They've already been impacted so much with COVID. You know, that corridor needs some a little bit of love there, and so I'm hoping that this correlates well. But those that are still functioning, I don't want to impact them as much as we can. So if we can put banners up, parking is here, order here, whatever it is that we need to do, I want to make sure that we do that for them.
Very good.
Okay, I think those are my questions. Sorry, I took over. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Thank you so much. Look forward to your answers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Last is Annalisa Murphy, and she's going to speak on the Orange Line bus improvements.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here. I'm Annalisa Murphy, the project manager for the G-Line BRT Improvements Project. This is not a mega project, unlike my colleagues who presented today. It's a little bit smaller in scale. But the improvements, we have 4 key improvements: grade separations at Sepulveda and Van Nuys with aerial stations, bike path improvements, gated intersections along the alignment, and also a stormwater capture component. The goal of the G-Line BRT Improvements Project is to reduce travel time, improve safety, allow for increased in capacity along the alignment. So that's the general scope of the project. We are currently in the design phase of the project, so we don't have a ton of disruption to the general public at this point. We do have some work site investigations that have been ongoing which we just wrapped up. So our potholing, survey, geotechnical investigations have largely been completed. We do not have any upcoming street closures because obviously we're still in the design phase. We haven't started construction. Construction is anticipated to start in August, fall of next year. We anticipate completion, substantial completion, December 2026. And we have done a decent amount of community outreach whenever we're out in the city streets. With potholing, we're sending out notices, going door to door, working with any impacted businesses, and just doing the general public outreach. And that's it. I don't know if you guys have any questions.
Thank you for your update. I see here that you are posting, you're e-blasting, a project webpage, social media when appropriate, and sharing Metro's The Source blog and El Pasajero. How are you reaching those hard-to-reach folks, especially those Metro riders that have to go to work early in the morning? How do they know that there's going to be a disruption?
For our riders, I'm not in the community relations department, so I can get back to you on how we do outreach to riders. But like I said, if our riders are within walking distance of the disruption, then we would be knocking on their doors. We would be handing out pamphlets. If they're, read our blogs, they'd be getting those notices. Again, we have very minimal disruptions right now. We're like taking maybe a lane for potholing. So at this point, we don't have big disruptions, actually no disruption to service. So we really haven't been doing that type of outreach.
Okay.
If I can come in for an assist as a former Metro Service Council member, when there's a disruption for riderships, this part I'm actually very intimately knowledgeable of. Metro does a really good job of putting notices at bus stops, in buses, and having the bus operators share information with riders in addition to the other part. But like the riders are usually harder to get them information from websites and social media, so they do more of the old school operators giving out information.
Perfect. You said the magic word, old school. Old school because we do have a lot of Spanish-speaking community members in that area and to folks that might not be always on a social media platform. So I just want to make sure that we also do the old school way of paper and door knocking and just letting people know that their commute is going to be disrupted. But I understand there's no current disruption at this time, but you will have some in the future. So basically the plan should start, right?
Yes.
Correct, okay. Any questions or objections or comments on all of this? Hearing none, thank you so much for your time again.
That concludes Metro's presentation.
Very well. Looking forward to our quarterly report in the next 3 months. Have a good rest of the day, everyone. Thank you. TJ Knight, have we cleared today's desk?
Yes, we have.
Great. It is now 12:13 and this meeting's officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone.